السلام علیکم. اعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم. بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. ان اللہ علی کل شیء قدیر. صدق اللہ العظیم. شادباش اے عشق کے خوش سودائے ماں، اے طبیب جملہ علت ہائے ماں. In Bible, John 4-16, it says, God is love, and whosoever abides in love abides in God, and God abides in him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this universe with the basic theme of love. He created this universe and wanted to be known. Then he created mankind. But before the mankind could actually sustain his life on this globe, on this earth had to be prepared to sustain his life. So all the other things, many of other things were created first. They evolved with time, and when they were good and ready to receive Adam, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Hazrat Adam alayhi salam here, then his children, and then this race of humankind. The verse that I quoted from Masnavi Mevlana Rum says, Shadbaash اے عشق کے خوش سودائے ماں. Be happy, or congratulations to you, or kudos to you, howsoever you want to translate Shadbaash. اے عشق کے خوش سودائے ماں. Oh, this characteristics in me that is called love or passion. He says, glory be to you, O love that is within me. At Tabibe Jumla Illat Haima, O you who are the physician or healer of all my ailments. You are the one that takes care of all the afflictions that I might have. Simply translated, that means love and the feeling of love that you have within you can actually conquer anything. And whatever befalls you, whatever ailments may afflict you, you can come over them, get over them by love. Let me just say this in plain Urdu also. مولانا رومی کہتے ہیں اپنے عشق کو مخاطب کر کے کہ اللہ تمہیں خوش رکھے کہ تو میرے لیے بہترین چیز ہے. سودائے خوش سودائے ماں، تو میری بہترین ملکیت ہے. میرے پاس جو کچھ ہے اس میں سب سے زیادہ قیمتی چیز تو ہے، اور اس لیے کہ تو میری ہر بیماری کا علاج ہے. ہر تکلیف، ہر مصیبت، ہر مشکل میں تو میرے کام آتا ہے. اور ہمیں یہ بھی بتایا گیا ہے اسلامک ٹیچنگز میں کہ اللہ سبحانہ و تعالیٰ کی ذات ایک خاص نعمت، ایک خاص عنایت کرنے والی تھی اس زمین کو اور اس جگہ کو، اس جہان کو. تو کسی نے بھی اس کو وصول کرنے سے انکار کر دیا. ہر ایک ڈر رہے تھے کہ ہم سے یہ کام ہو نہیں سکے گا. لیکن انسان کا دل ایک ایسی جگہ ہے جہاں آ کے وہ سما گیا. تو انسان کے دل کے اندر اللہ کی ذات آباد ہے، اور یہ امانت ایسی ہے کہ اور کوئی مخلوق اس کو اٹھا نہیں سکتی تھی. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to bestow something special to his creation, he offered it to mountains and other things, and they refused to accept it because they felt that it will be difficult for them to really do justice to it. But it was contained in the human heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala resides in our hearts. And for us to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have to really look within our hearts. I'm trying to make it as simple and as pertinent as possible, so that we all can comprehend the message that is in it. The message basically is that the whole universe, its basic theme is love, Ishq. And once you have that Ishq within you, then your life becomes fairly peaceful, fairly pleasant, and hardships may come, but you won't see them as hardships. You will feel that this is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing you for. You get more closer to Him when you have those difficulties. So, although our worship, our prayers, our learning about the divine message, all of that is important, yet it's never enough. We always depend on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy and His benevolence and His forgiveness. If He forgives you, nothing can hurt you. If He is with you, nothing can harm you. If He is your friend, nobody can frighten you. If you are afraid of Him and Him alone, then you cannot be afraid of anybody else, because now you know that you are in the best support system and nothing can hurt you. Belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just by saying by tongue is one thing, but internalizing it, feeling it within you, nurturing it, and then connecting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that requires special intention, that requires special effort, that requires special kind of a preparation. And to do that, you really have to then follow everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered us to do and refrain from all those things that He forbids us from. So whenever you feel that you are good and ready, make that intention, love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then ask Him to connect with you. For you to connect with Him, maybe you are not worthy. For Him to connect with you, He created you. He will have no objections if He finds that you are sincere. Once you are sincere and you say, I want to connect, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes over from that. You walk one step, He walks 10 steps towards you, although it's not appropriate to say steps, but this is how explanations are made, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala draws you closer and then you become one of His servants. Why does He do that? He does that for His own sake also, because He has to run this universe. And He runs this universe by us. A time comes when His friends become His hands and feet and things that He does by. So whenever He wants to help somebody, He uses His creation. And the best creation that He uses for help is humankind. Human beings become so close to Him that they do His work. And when they do that, they usually don't say that I'm doing His work. They don't announce about it. Nobody knows that these are people that are so close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and yet they do His work. So it's very, 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 very important that when we are in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, try to think about Him and Him alone. The best definition of a muttaqi, Hudal lil muttaqin, when we read that in the very beginning of our Quran in Al-Baqarah, muttaqi is somebody who feels the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time. Not who is afraid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is not something to be afraid of. Allah is a loving being. He is Ar-Rahman, He is Ar-Rahim. Look at Him with that kind of a view, and then look towards His mercy and connect to Him. Try to connect to Him and make an intention. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then becomes closer to you, and then you can start working by His permission, of course, with His power, and then things become easy. Now, there are so many places in Al-Quran where references are made that people that are close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a time comes when they actually do